Yo, look, your ego is a gift, and it's a gift that you really gotta learn how to have balance with. Now, the reason I felt like talking this because I seen me a video from a dude named Alex the Virgo. He clutched with his videos. I'm not gonna lie to you. He was talking about alter ego, and it put a lot of things more into perspective for me because I was able to look at. Most people think ego is you have a big head, you're overly confident, or you just have a high sense of something, but it's always viewed as a negative, and it's not. Like your ego, the definition of ego is how important do you believe you are type stuff. So like, your ego is why do you feel like you're important? If that makes sense. And at the end of the day, the fact that I see, there's people that talk about ego deaths and being overly confident and all these things. And as I've gotten older, I know with my own life and my own experience, it's just the fact that life, it really does, which this can go with manifesting and all that type of stuff too, but life really does become easier when you do have that sense of I'm important. I'm that ego is not something that's bad, but you really do need to have balance with it. Because your ego, when you overstep too much, that's when you can be humble, when you can be shown that you're not as important as you think you are. But if you didn't have a sense of ego, you wouldn't feel special. You wouldn't feel like you have a purpose in the world. You wouldn't feel like you have some type of reasoning on why you contribute or are needed in the world. And when I started to look at it from that, I said, then the ego is not even as bad as you think. But, you know, say your alter ego type junk. Say your alter ego is this person who feels like they pull all the girls, they pull all they're very successful, they know what they're doing, all of those type of things. I've seen people do that, and it shows up for them. As in, you go into a club, you you walking in with your alter ego is gonna get you what you want and the results you want. Going and hollering at girls or any of those type of people way more than you not having any sense of ego, sense of importance, sense of whatever. And when you feel that way, when you feel like, yeah, nah, I'm important. I don't go through most of this type of stuff. That's when you start to question it, honestly. Like, you got to think about it like this: your ego can completely destroy you, but it can also build you too. How you doing? And with that being said, it can build you, since it can build you by building up habits like, okay, there's things that I know I don't do. There's things that I know that I shouldn't be doing type stuff. Like I don't do that type of stuff. That's an ego for some people. Somebody that's like, man, I'm too good for that. I'm too good for working at these certain jobs, or I'm too good for letting a girl talk to me, any of those type of things. And with that mindset, it stops you from dealing with certain things you shouldn't be. Like you understand that, hey man, I'm more important than all of this other stuff that's going on, this job, this any of that, me taking care of my family, loving my people amongst me, all that type of stuff is the most important thing. Now of course, once again, all of that requires balance, because for some people, you can get into a whole family, and legit, the moment you lose everything else, the job or any of that, they kind of look at you like, what are you doing? As a man, that's something that you got to be able to just take on the chin. But it's gonna be 10 times worse to say you took care of these people, but you didn't actually do anything to show them that you care for them type junk. Like, you can take care of somebody 100%, and that's a sign of you showing that you care for somebody. But at the end of the day, you still can be looked at as different, like somebody who don't speak, somebody who don't really talk, or any of that type of stuff, if that's all you're doing, if you're not spending time with these people. It's like a job, a dude who pays you well, but he don't ever speak to you. He cool, but he don't really he don't really, as a person, make me feel close to this person or any of that type of stuff, or like they're a trustworthy boss or any of those things. So back to get on topic, like I said, with your ego, it's important for you to remember and realize that you have to set certain boundaries, certain perimeters on how far you'll allow your ego to get. Because when you've achieved success moving with your ego so much, it's gonna automatically boost your head. You're gonna genuinely feel like, man, my alter ego, I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel like I'm that guy. I'm him. And with that being said, since I feel like I'm that guy, my results is when I go outside and I talk to females and any of that type of stuff, they probably feel like, what's special about him? Why he's so confident in trying to talk to me or any of those type of things. All those things display naturally without anybody else needing to say anything, and because of that, that's just my own sense of my alter ego. Like my alter ego, I gotta put my clothes on first. I gotta put my shoes on. I gotta get my hair cut, all that type of stuff. But once I do those type of things, I'm like, nigga, nobody messing with me. I'm pressure. And with that being said, that type of confidence, that type of power you gain from having that ego in those moments is exactly what you have to have in life in general. Like, of course, there's people, you should be humble. You should always know how to be humble. But you should always know how to step and stand up for something, too. Like, you should know how to stand on business about certain things. That's one thing that I've seen people be like, you don't gotta always be on some calm, chill stuff. If somebody's playing with you, or you gotta show somebody that some respect, you can pop your stuff. You can let it pop out. Ooh. Damn, my fault. I'm over here getting distracted by my fault, twin. Can't be doing that type of stuff in video. But yes, so when I look at those things and I look at what those results have gotten me from leaning more into my ego, leaning more, I pulled some of the baddest females ever when I was moving in that type of energy. But as soon as I got more humble, and I'm like, man, I'm just like everybody else, which is true. I am, but I'm different as well. When I started becoming more humble, I didn't stand out. I wasn't giving main character energy. And for your life, you should be the main character. You should be the person who is determining how your life is, what your life is like. You don't need to be having other people like, man, why he act like a sidekick? Like you legit have to embrace all of those parts of yourself. And the best way to do that is being able to handle your ego, being able to recognize why your ego is certain things. Sometimes you have an overinflated ego because you were looked down upon. That's where a lot of superiority complexes come from, or any of those type of things. It's because of the fact that they were looked down at as you just a regular person by everybody else, and they felt that way. So then they put on this barrier, this crown or whatever they do mentally in their head, that I'm better than other people, when you can't feel like you're better than other people, but you can feel like you different. You can feel like nobody is like you, and that's not a problem. That's the balance that comes with having an ego, is that you're not better than nobody, but you're different. Nobody is like you. Nobody can pop out like how you do. Nobody can talk like how you do. Nobody can persuade people to be in the right direction. I remember I was thinking a while back, I'm like, I've had so many instances in my life that showed me I'm different. Like, I went to a couple jobs. Every job I went to, I always started some type of group that expertised in something. So a good example, when I was working at the airport, I had people that legit, we would ride in the little tugs, the things in the airport where the planes and all in the back. And we would be like, I'm the best. I'm talking my junk. I'm gonna be like, I'm the best driver out here. And that's just me. And then everybody else, of course, maybe they pride or whatever, even though some of them people legit probably didn't like me, like, fuck them. At the end of the day, I don't care. But some of them people, they were like, nah, you're not a better driver than me. And then we would practice or become, with that thought process in our mind, the ego's boosted. We're like, this is us driving at our best, and we would tend to drive better at our best. We would be able to perform at our best in a better way. Same thing when I was racing cars or any of that type of stuff. But the biggest example would be like, me. I remember with my ego, one of the clutchest things was I was working at this other job, and this job was like, well, I was working at this other job, and I ended up saying to one of the people, I'm like, come do some push-ups. And I'm like, you scared or something? Like, I'm always talking a little junk just to get you more into it, to be able to do something. It's not hard to do that with dudes, like, for real, when you hanging out with the bros, and you just like, you can't do more push-ups than me, any of that type of stuff. And when you do those things uplift you in the first place. So honestly, like I said, the group of, or the amount of people that came around got so big, damn, was that it got so big that I would have groups of people. I'm telling you, I'm not lying to you. Like, after work, we would have 20 people, 20 dudes out here just exercising, all trying to get to 50 push-ups. 50 push-ups maybe at the beginning of the day and at the end. And then at the end of the work session, which this is a night shift. Why are we doing this at night shift? Because we're trying to get our bodies right. Why not? That's my thought process. And that's what I got everybody else to start believing too. Like, why would y'all look down on somebody who is trying to get their body right? Y'all work 24/7. You working a 10-hour shift. Most of your day you wake up, next day you're not able to do anything. Why would you not try to put some type of other event in while you're working this job or any of these things? And as time passed, the numbers increased. People didn't look at it as, oh, this person exercised, what did they be doing? Any of that type of stuff, like looking at people crazy, because why are you finna judge somebody who's taking care of themselves? That's getting people to take care of themselves, any of those type of things. And when I got in that bag of realizing those things, like, my ego was the one who carried that many people to do it in the first place. When somebody wanted to talk junk, I'm like, you're just mad because you can't do it. And then they like, who said that? And it just domino effects into a bigger and bigger thing, where now we got 20, 25 people. My boss is over here looking at us doing push-ups right before we leave, and he trying to talk a little junk, and I talk him, and he start doing push-ups too every day. Like, it was funny to see that I had that much power, but you don't realize that until you realize how powerful you are. And your alter ego is your best version that you envision in yourself. So why would you not practice on learning how to hone those things in the first place? Your alter ego, your ego is something that you have to practice shaping into whatever you want it to be. And when you learn that, it's golden. But that's it. I'm back in my mindset where I needed to be. So videos should be coming out consistently. I know it's been 5 days, but so what? I'll probably have 100 more days to go. And like, I have 100 more days that I'll probably have where I miss in life. At the end of the day, as long as I pick up and do the other 300,000, 30,000 that I'm here on Earth, then why stress? Love y'all though.